Good evening and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament's weekly broadcast. I'll be taking the mic from Shanko once again, and I was lucky to have received some recommendations, and also I've got some very old replays for you pre-2014. Starting the cast with Purple Destiny versus Insanity Bot, and Purple Destiny is Dan Gan's random playing piece of ghostiness, rolling Zerg for this game, and Insanity Bot, well, we all know it, it's going to be a lot of bio and hopefully some nukes, but oh well, you never know. And of course, bio is always a good way to go versus Zerg, and Purple Destiny is going for a handful of Zerg, and they're going to scout all the wrong way on this map of Python. Python now are going to find the bunker and are going to be repelled, and there we go. So after the bunker we are seeing a lair and a Hydra Den. Knowing Purple Destiny, who just uploaded his update for CRG, it's going to be all about lurkers. So there we go, and here we have got a vulture from Insanity. That's interesting because it would rather... I was expecting a bio build actually, so this is quite interesting. Here we've got the first lurker and there is no detection yet, but here comes the eBay. And I can imagine no mines, but we've got siege mode, and here comes the turret. And how did it see that? That was quite funky. Oh, it was just too slow in burrowing and then got killed, and then the turret came online. So I'd say that Insanity Bot has handled this very well indeed, and now it's up to Purple Destiny to get something done. But with two tanks on the high ground and the comm set coming up, the only thing holding Insanity back here is, well, the lack of a natural really, and that will leave Purple Destiny with a lot of room to get things done. But it's going for a lot of combat units and really no drones, so with the drone count being only half of that Insanity, here comes the natural, and with a couple of tanks and a couple on the high ground more, I think that, only if they were not, oh god, that was very painful, but just with the bunker, I think that Insanity holds, but this tank is very precocious and will die therefore, and now the natural will be demolished quite effectively, and it looks like Purple Destiny built at least one drone, and that's something. And here comes a drop. Oh, that's very interesting. So got two things to keep in mind. We've got the overrunning of the natural and the barely holding on the high ground. Yes, that SCU isn't going to enjoy itself very much. We've got one tank, and now we've got the drop with a handful of vultures, and the worker count, which was already pretty low, is going to plummet, I believe. There is one lurker, but it looks like the vultures will not really... Oh, they are going to scan and try and kill it. Will 3 vultures do quite well, but the drone count is now 6, is 5, and might even be 4. And although there is a sizable Zerg army over here, the drone count is 20 versus 5. And let's see how the recuperation from Purple Destiny is going to unfold. We've got 4 or 5 drones over here, nothing there. We've got one lurker, one Hydra, and they are chasing the dropship. Drones are being built, however, so that's something, and although there is money, not more drones are going to be built, and that's quite mysterious. Now, let's see, we've got some kind of a staging area, and the dropship will be repaired, that's pretty good. And you can see how effective that is. The drone count is now 9. Oh, the Matrix SCV will surely not build a command center, although there are 2 sign vessels. And now the dropship is taking the direct route. Drone count has been re-elevated into 11, but I think this is going to be quite deadly. And although there is a neuter trying to kill the vultures, the worker count's now 3. And the entire army is coming back, and there are mines. Oh, but there are overlords as well, so that doesn't really pose as much of a problem as could be envisioned. But the drone count being brought back to 4, and this would be a good time to build a natural. There are some siege tanks, but there is little anti-air, and we have got a couple of turrets, but that's about it. And we've got our radiate prepping, but not really done quite yet. Dropship badly damaged. There is an armory under construction, and I think with Irradiate and the scientists having been around for a while, they will have some opportunity to cast Irradiate once it is done, but instead they cast Matrix, and I don't know where that vessel is going. Oh, one lurker is going to get it. And on an army size of about 14, and the drone count now back to 10. Let's hope defense will be there, but the dropship is being repaired, and with the armory I think that Goliaths will be in production pretty soon, and with one Comstat and a couple of science vessels I think that the lurker threat is going to be abolished. Oh, and a Wraith and an Irradiate with a couple of Goliaths. I think that this is going to be over pretty quickly, and I must say that Insanity is playing a decent game, and I especially like those drops. That one lurker and one neuter, oh, and a Hydra as well, are not going to save the day. And oh, with 1-2 expansions coming up, I think I can call the GG, especially since the drone counts now 1. And I don't know where that is. Oh, here they are, but that must be the GG. So even though there aren't any nukes, I must say that it's a very solid game for Insanity. So congratulations, that's pretty well done. Next recommendation is Purple Protoss versus TSC, and that's a game that Dan sent me, and I must pardon for having another purple game, but well, the map is Shinchukpungryong, and that's a somewhat newer map. It's in the CRG map pool, and let's see how these two gentle bots are going to deal with that. So TSC Protoss is the latest TSC bot. It's going to go for a quick core, and at the other end of the map we've got one gate and then a core, so a little bit later. Purple Protoss has got a couple of workers more, now 2 gates, and I think that is going to be another gate. Oh, the scouting drone gets expelled. What's this going to be? I think a pylon. So TSC Protoss going for the quick range, one less zealot, and the goons, well, TSC will be a little bit quicker with the first goon, but that will be offset by the double gateway for Purple Protoss. Now, oh, this is absolutely bad combat micro by TSC. The Zealot can't read the reach, and the regrouping doesn't work as well as planned, but here with a second goon, oh, and a third goon now, so this will all come down to micro. This will be pretty interesting to see. Purple Protoss has got another probe brought along. We've got one gate, another gate under construction, but it's very hard to hold off a 2-gate situation with only one gate. Although TSC Protoss has got range, and this would be the ideal time to do something about one of these zealots. Oh, but here comes another goon for Purple Protoss, and the army disparity is in favor of Purple, so that's going to be quite iffy. And there is another gateway coming online, and I think that Purple Protoss doesn't really realize that it's got double the army supply, and has only got the ramp to deal with, and the probe will make it back out of there. Now with the high ground and the range, but although the range for Purple will be done momentarily as well, I think that this goon has to be pretty careful. And here comes another gateway, and ooh, that might be a Reaver tech. And what's going to come from here? We've got a couple of goons guarding the high ground, range finishing up, and not too many forces at the enemy's side of the game. I think that Purple is going to play it rather carefully, and this zealot might be in grave danger, or actually is, and now is gravely dead. So yes, that might be the time to send some backup. It's 2 gates, and the number of probes of TSC is a little bit higher. TSC is doing a little bit better, but has got a little less army. Has got Observer Tech, not going to fall for any shenanigans with Dark Templar or anything like that. And yeah, Purple Protoss leading the charge, no natural for either player. Drone count for TSC Protoss is a little bit higher, still producing probes, and if it can get the upper hand in one of these conversations, I was going to say, but confrontations, might easily take a natural nexus, and then it would benefit tremendously. But Purple Protoss is going to go for a nexus, because it's got the enemy cornered and under pressure, and now it's going to take a couple of blasts. There is no Robo Bay yet. Instead, one more gateway, and ooh, the the goons for purple are a little bit damaged, and with the defender's advantage, I think that TSMU might hold this for the time being. And you can see that these goons for purple are a little bit... TSMU is fighting more effectively. Purple is microing a little bit too much and not getting too much done with that, and now in the retreat might even lose another goon. You can see TSMU's goons are being very effective most of the time, and now on the high ground, Purple Protoss is doing a murderous job, having the vision advantage and also the chance to miss versus high ground is playing a role as well, but TSMU immediately taking a natural nexus, and Purple has been building probes, so the probe count is equal. We've got 4 gateways here and we've got 5 there. That's a bit of... ooh, that might be a Templar Archive. Shall we have a peek? Yes, we shall have a peek. That's the Templar Archives coming up. And is there any kind of detection over here? Doesn't look like it at the moment. Just a lot of gateway units from Purple. And, ooh, TSMU is vacating the natural, and although it's got a bit of army, Protoss Purple has got the upper hand, and while all the goons are retreating, and now they're coming back, but it's not easy, and a lot of probes were lost. The probe count is now 28 for TSMU, and Purple is pressing the issue. That's just 2 very expensive, very, very, very expensive observers. But now with the Dark Templar, I think that TSMU can sort of clear its throat of the natural and chase Purple back. Purple has taken a third, so that's something to keep in mind. But with 2 Dark Templar, 1 stay at home Templar, so to speak, it's going to be difficult to do something about that for Purple. Purple, though, has got some tech coming up, and that looks like a robo bay and has some cannons all over the place, so not going to fall for Dark Templar drops, but in the middle of the map, oh, that's a lot of Dark Templar. How many have we got? Actually, we've got about 6, and TSMU taking a third as well, and you can see where the development of the game has brought us. It's really more diversified, more adaptive, and these are... oh no, the Dark Templars are not going to meddle with the cannons over here. And no, you shouldn't do that, because although you've got a little bit of an army advantage with 2 cannons here, 1 on the high ground, it's going to be pretty tough to fight all that. And there is an observer now for Protoss as well. Oh, and the Dark Templars are going to town on the cannon. And if TSMU had brought an observer, it could have dealt with the observer of Purples and then have dealt a lot of damage. Now the third for TSMU is up. Have we got more tech? We've got 2 forges spinning, a lot of gateways, and I think that cannon play is going to be a thing, because you can see both of these players defending their expansions with cannons, and now Purple is going forwards on the map with a large army. Has it got a Reaver? No, it hasn't got a Reaver, but as you can see, TSMU is building a robo support bay, while there are just going to be more goons from Purple. And the big question is really, what are these 2 Protoss going to do with Locutus and Purple Wave? I think that right now Protoss is the race to be, and TSMU hanging on for dear life, but surely must lose his natural like this. And Purple not really daring to, not really able to connect up with the reinforcements. That's a pity. Taking 1 more base though, fortifying it with a lot of cannons. So as far as PvPs go, this is pretty good, and I should keep an eye on the battles a little bit more. And TSMU is doing some work with the Dark Templar, but as there are observers on both sides, it's not going to be all that critical anymore. And that's something I really like, having production outside of your main base. In case your natural is getting cornered, you can always do something. And now TSMU is going to press the issue. Oh, we've got a Dark Templar as well on Purple Protoss side. So I think the name of the game is to keep your observer coverage up. What's in those shuttles? We have got some High Templars now for Purple, and we've got 1 Reaver for TSMU. So this game is going to get right out of control. TSMU has got, well, a sizable army, not really the best, and Purple is just mopping up stray units in the middle of the map. That's good. 4 bases for both players. Main is out right here and there. Natural getting low, I think, for both players. TSMU has taken its natural a little bit later, so has got a little bit more juice left in it. And you can see both players maneuvering for the high ground, and TSMU is now trying to repel all the zealots. I think Purple Protoss built a lot of zealots and is not really getting the most fighting power from them, as these goons can absorb quite a lot. And then you've got the Reaver in the rear with the Scarabs. Have you got the damage upgrade? It is being researched, but you've got Storm on the side of Purple, and that's going to be something to look out for. Oh, I probably have missed the Storm. And now TSMU is holding the high ground with a Reaver and some stray units, and has taken this base right over here. Oh, and this one as well. So although Purple has got the advantage in army size, it's about 2-1. If it doesn't get anything done with that, let's see where this High Templar is going. Storm being dodged, at least not by this Dark Templar, which is getting a little bit of Storm on its nose. Now TSMU is trying to catch up in army size, but it's very hard to do so, and Purple is really lumbering around with this great army, lots of goons and zealots. Upgrade-wise, +3 is researching for both players. Armor okay, no shield upgrades. I don't know why that is. I think shield upgrades are not as... Oh dear, here, this must be the end of this base, unless TSMU can do something with that, but oh dear, the army is going somewhere completely different. And now TSMU is surely going to lose a base. Just nail in the last couple of nails here and you'll be done with that. Purple is now maxed, and although TSMU has just lost the base, it's trying to reinforce it once again with the cannon. But here comes the main army, and I think surely this time it must be the end of this Nexus. And there it falls. Some buildings being cleaned up as well. And now we've got the last stand of TSMU's army. The Reaver firing heavy shots. The goons haven't got any room to micro, and there are so many Templar. And you can see, although TSMU is fighting like a champion. Wow, it is... Oh, the Reaver is doing so much work, but a little bit of storm dodging wouldn't hurt on TSMU's side. And TSMU coming out of this with a huge army advantage. That's really crazy. And Purple trying to take this base, but TSMU's on top of that with a handful of goons, and is going to kill some goons of Purple's, and also going to kill the expansion. And here comes a shuttle with the Reaver. This PvP is completely wild, and now, oh, the Reaver is being set on by a couple of zealots, but just in the nick of time fires the last shot and survives. And now TSMU is dealing a lot of damage. Purple falling apart. Ooh, that was a nasty swipe by one last zealot on that Reaver. I think there is a pair of Reavers in the shuttle still, and now it's Purple's turn to lose a base. TSMU with a huge army advantage, production tab-wise, it's going to be completely wild. Purple is going for an Arbiter, has got a lot of money in the bank, is going to produce a lot, but TSMU isn't out of this yet. And it's just the army for Purple which isn't there, and TSMU is completely ruthless in killing all the bases. These two nexus, it's really, I think the Reaver's going to do something about that, or not. But Purple just hasn't got an army, isn't getting anything done. It was 11, now went up to 16, but now back to 10. And we've got a couple of Dark Templars. This is no longer covered by cannons, and TSMU is dealing out the damage. Don't write him off yet for a title at any of this year's tournaments, because TSMU is such a champion. It's really evil to behold. And this is a very beautiful PvP. We've got an Arbiter, but there's only one unit underneath it, and there's now 70 versus 0 army supply. All the colonies, save this one, are overrun. There is no income for Purple Protoss, and now the Dark Templar leading the charge, and some units being ferried possibly by these shuttles, and this is one mean murdering machine called TSMU taking the game of Purple Protoss. And I will be very interested to see how this year's CIG will turn out, with all these major Protoss battleships doing their utmost to clinch it. So that's the GG. Thank you for having sent me this game. I have got one more. Yes, I'll do one more modern one, and it's Microwave versus Purple. Oh, God, that's not Purple Wave. I'll do How Pan versus... I'll do Simplicity versus How Pan. Oh, sorry about that. Because Simplicity is updated again, and How Pan is updated again, and this was a recommendation. So I don't think How Pan sent me this. So the contributor is not at all biased in the outcome as to the outcome of this game, and How Pan is, well, going to go for a bunker rush. but Simplicity sort of detects it and is going for a lot of Sunkens just to be on the safe side, and now is going for another Nexus. Halpan is going for, yeah, well, that was a proxy racks, but that's not going to do much. Now is going for a factory over there, and ideally you bring these Sunkens to over here so you can sort of breach the gap and try to expel that bunker from your natural. But we've got Lair, and I think this is going to be a Spire. A Spire? Yes, there we go. We have got a bit of gas in the bank, and I think we are going to see some Mutas. Yes, there we go. Small stack of Mutas waiting for sufficient numbers, and now going after the Marines. And this bunker micro could be a little bit better. Now that said, we have now got two factories, and I must be greatly mistaken. Yes, here come the first Goliaths. And we've got a nice stack of Mutas already. That's quite a lot. We've got 7 Mutas. I think 1 or 2 are going to fall, but the bunker might fall as well. 6 left. And now we've got 6 Mutas out on the map. And there are some Goliaths, but they are really far off. And are we still having Mutas? We're having Mutas and drones. So for the time being, I think that Simplicity is in an okay position. The question though is, where are the Mutas? Oh, there are the Mutas, and they're going to turn on the Goliaths. I think that's a good decision. Just take the fights early on to keep the Goliath count rather low, and with a couple of Zerglings I think that the Mutas can do quite well versus the Goliaths, but they are taking some damage as well. So again, we are having a very varied game with adaptive strategies, and the Muta count will need to be backed up, but the Goliaths aren't fighting, they are running and they are not shooting, and that's, I think, a mistake. So now Simplicity is having the upper hand in the middle of the map. It's 2 Goliaths versus 7 Mutas. Like to keep an eye on that. And now it's 3 versus 6, 2 versus 6. You want to bring your Zerglings along, but it's just going to take... Oh god, that's a mistake. Now we've got 3 versus 3 Goliaths and Mutas, and that's not really the most favourable for the Mutas. And we have got a lot of Zerglings, but they're not doing anything, and now they are being pestered by... Oh dear, that's not going to be good for the Goliaths. If these Zerglings persist, they can and will out-micro the Goliath, especially with speed. Now the natural for Zerg is up. Halpan being a little bit late. Mutas trying to pick off Goliath, but they have got the range, no weapons upgrade, and that's just going to be very expensive. Instead, I think the Mutas should concentrate on killing the Vultures, and the Zerglings should take care of the Goliaths. And that's a much more potent combo. It's a Muta Link which is able to do a lot of damage, but you have to keep both units in your composition, and the third base for Simplicity is up already, and Halpan is starting the natural. So let's take stock. Army supplies about even. Halpan a little bit down on the workers. Now with the siege tank is going to do some additional damage to what appears to be a Hydra switch with lurkers, but there aren't any lurkers yet. And is there scanning ability here? No, not really. This might be an eBay. A little bit slow though, so I fear that might be... What is it? Another factory. This must be an academy though. So we'll have a comsat soon, and Simplicity is going to be out on its luck because it hasn't got any units in the world. These 2 siege tanks are really in a bad position, and the last sunken holds, and now with 2 lurkers which are taking a lot of chances. But look at this, Simplicity is macroing like a boss. Should have some kind of a safe zone kind of thing and not draw any units on its exposed bases. That said though, we've got 60 versus 40 workers, and once these workers start bringing back the money, it's going to be increasingly hard for Halpan to stop it, and Simplicity is going to take all the bases in the world, just 1 hatch, 1 thingy sunken, and let's go for it. But has to be careful not to lose the natural and the main. It's losing a lot of single units here and there, and of course the worker transfer isn't all that great either. And now there is a vulture over here, and that sunken is not going to do anything to mitigate that threat. And now, oh dear, I've done it again. Ah, I brought it back. Damn, I'm good. Don't know how I did it, but here we go. 1 lurker is holding on for dear life, as the army supply for Simplicity is complete rubbish. But now you're going to see armies streaming in from all angles, and there should be a little bit more, but more and more bases are being taken. Third base taken for Halpan. Halpan has definitely got the better army at this point. There is only one sunken left, and that's going to be brought down quickly by these siege tanks. Halpan in a good position, I would say, and Simplicity really ought to get a little bit of army together. And now there's just a lot of units streaming from A to B without much purpose. And look at the money in the bank, and not even supply blocked, although a little bit. And this is the production tab of Simplicity. So if Simplicity, oh dear, oh dear, if these Sunkens can hold on, losing the natural is not so bad. But Simplicity will have to hold on to bring these bases online, make some production happen, and then try to stop this army, which is getting really big, and not make so many drones in the main. And now we've got two Sunkens in a good position, but Simplicity has to be really careful not to get range. Here is the flying building. A Spore might do wonders, but there is nothing here to stop this floating eBay, and losing the main in this situation is not going to be good at all. Oh, there, yes, production outside of the main base, that's very good. Drone count is exceptional for Simplicity, but it's very, very hard to... Oh lord, that's going to be a drop. Where are these units going to be dropped? Because the army size for Simplicity is just not there, and although Simplicity is making a lot of units, they're really rather being wasted here and there. Oh, and this is good. Some links being sent out, perhaps to kill this base. Killing a tank in the main, in the middle of the map would be good. Lots of overlords for Simplicity, because all those in the main are going to fall. Now it's gravely supply blocked. Has got a lot of larvae, but where is the technology going to be? That's the question. Where is the new base going to be? As of yet, Simplicity can only make drones and overlords, and it's now going to make a lot of overlords. And the supply block will soon be ended, but there is no technology at all. The main is completely overrun, save for one egg, but that's going to fall as well. And now this huge army of Halpans is going to come into play. And after the overlords, there is no tech building coming up. Simplicity has not got anything to restart its game. It's just going to be all about drones, and versus a fully equipped mech army, that's just not going to work. You can see the upgrades for Halpan, and it's just going to be drones, 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 and yes, that's not going to win you the game. Lots of money in the bank for Simplicity, almost going for the 10k challenge in a multiplayer game. That's not good at all, and that is going to be, surely that's going to be a good game. Halpan not taking any prisoners here, although... No, it's just going to be... Oh, we've got a lair coming up, so... Oh, we've got a pool. So Simplicity is now restarting, and if this army of Halpans might get trapped here somehow in this corner, Simplicity might get something done, but then it would have to do so pretty quickly. The restarting just took too long, and now... it's a bit iffy, and still no army, but Halpan is bringing its army back to the main of... the new main of Simplicity. And with 10-20 army supply, there is no way you're going to stop a fully upgraded 140 supply mech army. Well, fully upgraded, that's not fully upgraded. But Simplicity is going to play the Garnbot game, just expand all over the map and hope to live in the long run, but there is just no stopping this, I fear. It's just going to be too much. Halpan might build one more depot. It's not doing so because of something is now taking all the bases in Simplicity's stead. Are we going to see more upgrades? Yes, plus 3 coming up. The last base for Simplicity, save this one, and this one is already found and under attack. So, going to call the GG and hop into the next game, because I did promise you some games which were pretty old. Let's see what I've got. Oh, this must be absolutely perfect. If the replay viewer that was optimistic. It's a free-for-all, and OpenBW doesn't really do FFA, so that's a pity. I've got a finals game. Oh god, from Crazier versus Ice, and this is one of the old finals. This is free 2014, might be 2000. Might have a look at that actually. So these are the old. Oh, and I'm not going to spoiler it for you. I'm not going to spoiler it. I should have done my homework and I can't reach the laptop right now, so I can't see from which finals this is. Must be 2012, 2013. And back in the days, it was Ice which was really the number one, and Crazier was up and coming, and the development of Icebot sort of got discontinued. So that was really the turnover, and that's why Ice is still so very good. Relatively, it is a bit slow compared to today's standards, but it's absolutely magnificent. So for 2012, 2013, you can probably recognize the wall-off with the two Marines, no bunker. That was must have been a later addition. Crazier going for a couple of factories, and you can see how late these players are. Oh, now we've got a bunker in venturing out. And it's all about the macro game. So Crazier now with a similar setup, bunker, 2 tanks, and Ice is going to mine out the neutral minerals. That was a trick that it mastered already back then, sending out the floating barracks, and it's going to be, it might not surprise you, a tank game. And Crazier's floating buildings were sort of copied by from Ice, and now is going to be all about the air cover and the side range. So both players with a handful of workers, armies a little bit more for Ice. Let's look at the upgrades. Ice has, Crazier's got vulture speed, not doing anything with the vultures, and Ice is going for its immaculate mine laying strategy. All the bases are going to be mined, and Crazier will be under pressure, and that was a sight that you used to see quite a lot. And the question is, oh, here is the eBay of Crazier. So Crazier actually doing away with a lot of its air reconnaissance. Therefore building a lot of tanks. So the tank game with some vultures in reserve for a quick charge. And Crazier just trying to micro out of that. Ice taking a third base, and this is really what these early TVTs look like. Repair is there, but where Crazier just, it was very hard for Crazier to get a grip on Ice, because in this tank game it was very hard to get something done. And you've just got to be the more aggressive one, and Ice at this moment is, and has now taken 3 bases, 4th already under construction, and you can see this bifurcating, but Crazier has got pretty good army control. So as long as you are defending, it's going to go not all that badly. And Ice is going for, or just going to go for the contain. And this is a site which you don't see all that often anymore, that Ice has got the enemy contained, but that used to be the side of all the games. Ice always would have the contain on you, and then you'd have to break out. And now Crazier is mopping up the infantry, or rather the non-tank units. And Ice is a little bit on the back foot. And that was really different, because Ice was pretty dominant back then. Crazier out there with the Wraith just for air vision. Ice with the science vessel, but the army supply is just falling. Crazier slowly mopping up and not going for the natural choke. That was quite new as well. Going for an expansion. Ice defending with a siege tank. Crazier with some marines just, I think, exposing them from the bunkers. Has got a dropship. I don't know what it's going to do. Oh, I do know what it's going to do with the dropship. Crazier was one of the first with a... ooh, now the SV is trying to stop the vultures. That's not good. Okay, well that was also a nice way to ask for a quick repair. The science vessel is going to go for somewhere, I don't know where. Look at that minefield by Ice. That's really hard to travel. Oh god, we've got a battle cruiser. So although Ice is massively on the back foot and Crazier is all over it with, well, not as many, well, there are quite a number of Goliaths, actually. Oh, and Yamato on the side of Ice. That's quite good. And Ice is going to fall the hammer, and this is where Crazier was at. It's just going to be 2 base push. 3rd base not taken. Crazier hadn't mastered the trick to clean up the mines yet, and that's saying something, because Crazier's been dominant on the student structure eye ladder for quite a long time, and now it's going to roll over Ice, but Ice isn't dead yet. It doesn't pay to underestimate the top bot. There is still a lot of money coming in from 2 or 3 bases, and there is 1 tank, so let's look at the defender's advantage. Crazier has got some raids for air reconnaissance. There is one tank though, and Crazier just doesn't dare approach it. So the stalemate we had back then is going to be there again, and this battlecruiser is doing a lot of damage. As you can see, there is hardly a Goliath left, and there is only one pair of wraiths which don't really dare attack, but now are going to kill the battlecruiser. And now the siege tanks of Crazier and Crazier, or the bot called Crazier, are going to advance, clean out the natural, and it's going to take a long while. Ice is not going to tap out, and still no production anywhere else but in the main, and that's just going to be, I think, one of the things we saw it earlier with TCMU versus Purple Protoss for CRG. That was really... where's the army? Oh, the army is here already, all of a sudden. Now Ice can sort of try and bring it back, but I don't think it's really going to work. Crazier is staying maxed. Upgrade-wise, not even pursuing other upgrades. And Crazier isn't maxed either. It's got a very low worker count, a very low eco situation. It's long distance mining now from the middle of the map. And those trade-offs between eco and army are much more balanced right now. And there is no one... Oh, look at this Vulture of Ice is doing a murderous job on the SCVs. It's a pity I can't show you how many kills it's got, because it's got to be quite a lot. Crazier with 12 SCVs, Ice have 25, Ice has got 40, but now all the income for Ice is gone, and this is only going to go one direction from here. Lots of mines running up in a straight line over here. So yeah, that's the GG. And let me, I think we've just got time for one more. Where is it? A lot of Crazier. I'm going to call this one. Because it's called, well, the Terran bot's called Cernclet, the bot's called Whopper. There is a Whopper Protoss and a Whopper Zerg right now, but it's just not being maintained and competitive anymore. But back in the days, this Terran bot was pretty good, and this is something you cannot ever see enough, because it was such a dominant thing, and it was only the big Terrans, Ice and Crazier, which could beat it with Goliaths. But it is the carrier bot, Thomas Vidas Ximp, XIMP. It is such a force of destruction, and not being one of the top 2 Terrans, I think that the chances of Whopper taking it or Ximp taking it are about even. We've got the first 2 gates, I think that's another one, the first 4 gates, lots of money and gas being stored by Ximp. Here is, oh, that's the Stargate, and now it's going to be carrier time, and this is a 3 base plan. And I think that Whopper has got some kind of an inkling from previous games. It learned what's coming to come, or perhaps it hasn't scanned because it hasn't got a comsat. It's going for Goliaths with a lot of upgrades, and here all the Stargates are flashing. The +1 is getting research, interceptor count upgrade as well, and a 3rd base. Oh, and this is going to be quite bloody, because it's really rather hard to stop a field of cannons with only Goliaths, although there is a tank now. There is no siege mode. Oh, and there is Cloak. So this must be one of these build orders specifically tailored to stop Ximp. But Ximp had a lot of times at a ridiculously high ELO. Oh, and here come the Wraiths, and they take care of the carriers pronto, but not before losing the 3rd base, and that's going to be rebuilt instantly, so that's good. And Whopper is going to go for another one. It's going to be all about the Wraiths, Goliaths, and a handful of tanks, but in the end you've also got to deal with all the cannons on the ground. So the next wave of carriers is going to depart, and now with an observer as a complement. The Wraith count though is pretty high. Oh, here we go. So you can see the scan going off, the observer being killed, and then the Wraiths have got free reign. But a lot of damage is being done, but I think that the command center will just live. Oh, that was pretty close, but now it needs to be repaired. Oh, and that's so cute. I think that that's overdoing it a little bit. The command center burns down. But if Ximp detects enemy air units, it will build a lot of Corsairs, and after a little bit switch back to carriers, but it tends to do the Corsair bit a little bit too much, because back in the days, and that was the day before this, there was the Berkeley Overmind, which built a lot of neuters, and then with Corsairs you can basically kill any number of neuters you'd like. And now we've got 14 Corsairs. Unfortunately, they are not doing very well versus siege tanks and Goliaths. And lots of Goliaths being killed by the cannons, though, that's got to be said. Whopper's army supply is being replenished from all sources, but look at the Wraith count, that's pretty impressive. And Sim can't get anything done anymore. I was really hoping that someone would have a game of the non-pro bots back then, because that was really fun to watch, all the struggling they did, and which you hardly see anymore because it's so filtered out, and these bots have gotten so much better. There were bots that were crashing all the time, getting stuck, doing silly things, walking into walls. Things like that don't really happen anymore. So yeah, I think this is about it. Whopper has got the 3-3, the ranged cloak, and the max supply. How many wraiths have we got? We've got 1 wraith. And the Goliath just nailed this primo. And yeah, there we go. The tanks blasting down the last cannons. And this is sort of it. 1 cannon, 1 empowered cannon. Handful of carriers here, but there isn't any money for interceptors. And all these Corsairs with full energy might be a nice trick if someone were to update Xin to get Disruption Web going, because that would make it a lot more deadly. But this game seems to be going for Whopper, although there is a last... How many interceptors have we got? We've got 5 interceptors left, so this is a good game. 7 interceptors now, because and there is only an SCV over here trying to kill the Nexus, and going pretty well at it actually. And Ximp is trying to rebuild the interceptor count, but that's just too many Goliaths, and the Nexus might even die. So that's the good game. Hopefully I will be able to find some replays of the older bots from back in the days, which were not so dominant, just as a bit of perspective to the game today. But for now I say good game to Cernclad's Whopper, and I'm going to pull the GG on this one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So GG, and well, next week of course Shonko will take the mic from me again, and a week after that I'll be back. You can find my email in the top left to recommend me any games. I will cast them, and for now I wish you a very good week and hope to see you again next week. Goodbye.